Hi, in this video I'm going to show you the basics of perspective for beginners without getting really technical and complicated. If you don't know this, you'll be stuck never being able to draw backgrounds or spatial relationships correctly. And at the end of the video I'll do what is often left out, which is to show you how to practically apply it when you draw. Hi, my name is Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 30 years now, and I'm here to empower you. So the mechanics of the most basic level of perspective involves four things: horizon line, 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, and 3-point perspective. So first of all, the horizon line or the eye line. Okay, so just imagine the world filled with water all the way up to your eyeballs. Anything that is below your eyeballs in the water, you're looking down at. Anything that you're looking above the water, you're looking up at. And when you turn your head up and down like this, the horizon line, the water line, stays, right? So you're actually just putting your face in the water, and you're putting your face out of the water, but the water line doesn't move ever. Okay, no matter how much you rotate your head, the water line stays where it is. If you dip your head down, the water line goes with you. If you raise your head up, the water line goes with you. So you can go up 3 stories and it'll still be with you. If you could go under the ground, the water line will stay with your eyeballs. It just doesn't rotate up and down with your eyes. Okay. As long as you kind of conceptualize it like that, then you'll understand it. So let's talk about vanishing points. You could put the vanishing point as a dot or an X, whatever helps you see it or more clearly see it. And then everything goes to that vanishing point. The vanishing point is meant to be the first thing that will just create the illusion of depth. So I'm going to draw a box going to above the horizon line, above the water, let's say, and then and that goes to this vanishing point here. Next, I'm going to draw a box underneath the horizon line. So first I draw a square, and then I put all the corners of the square and have them connect to the vanishing point. And then, like, if you put one right on the horizon line, it's better to put it on the side so you could actually see it going to the horizon line. Otherwise, you just have a box or a square, right? And you just don't see it going into the vanishing point. That's the gist of drawing something that goes into the vanishing point. The only thing that you have to really be aware of is how observationally you'll see that sometimes, like the side of a box going into a 1-point perspective vanishing point can sometimes get really long on the ends. You got to be careful about that, because usually that's not the case when you see it in real life. Often the sides of something going into one vanishing point is actually very thin, very tight, and if you're not paying attention, if you're not being careful enough, you end up with this really long side. So just be aware of that, and do a lot of observational drawings when it comes to that. We're talking about 2-point perspective, which requires 2 vanishing points. The trick to doing 2 vanishing points is to not have them too close together. The closer the vanishing points are, the more distortion you will get. So ideally, most of the time, you kind of want one vanishing point on the page and one vanishing point off the page, that it's not even in the same or outside of the frame that you're working in. But 2-point perspective is basically you draw the general area you want to draw, whatever it is, above the horizon line, below the horizon line. And you generally just do the placement of your shapes, and instead of drawing a square and then having everything go to that, you kind of begin with a line in the center and you kind of generally have an idea as to how big the box that you want to draw, or whatever object you want to draw that's going in perspective. And then you have all the lines converge to one of the two vanishing points that you put into the drawing. It's really, really basic. It's very, very simple. You don't even need to necessarily draw with a ruler, but it helps. It's just more accurate. And again, this is just the technical stuff. I'll show you how to use it practically later. And finally, 3-point perspective. The 3-point perspective at this point it's kind of like if you're looking, if you're below, looking up at a bunch of skyscrapers. Everything, not only do things in your plane of vision go towards the horizon, but they also get smaller as they go higher, right? So that in order to create the illusion of things also going further and further away from you, you need one more vanishing point. And that vanishing point can be placed anywhere depending on the look that you want, that recession of that you're going for. So you put a vanishing point anywhere, and then it starts looking like you're looking up, and the things are higher and higher. And if you're above the water, say, you're really, really high up, you're flying overhead, you have a drone shot, then that means that everything starts receding down, right? You're looking down at the world. You have the two vanishing points, and then you have a third that makes everything recede and go further away from you, and it makes the illusion of going further away. And those are the 4 basic mechanics of doing perspective. If you could just do that just on their own, you pretty much can do just about anything. Things can get much more complicated later, and I'll give you some resources that you can use if you want to further improve on all the technical stuff that comes with doing perspective. All right, even though there's still a lot to learn, all the little nitty-gritty stuff about perspective and all these other things, the real problem that happens is when you're actually practically trying to use the perspective. A lot of the time, especially when I started out, I thought that the perspective came first, right? Like, okay, now I need to put the vanishing point and all the things, and then everything has to go to the perspective. But what ended up happening was I had zero control over my drawing before I was able to do anything, because perspective is technical, but it's not the idea. It's not the thing that the specific idea that you're going to try to produce comes first before putting anything technical. Okay, so if you want to draw something very, very specific, you absolutely do not start with perspective. You have to keep perspective in mind, but you don't start with perspective. Because you know the technical stuff, right? If you know how vanishing points work, if you know how horizon lines work, and you've done it enough, then you can start from the get-go. When you're using forms, this is again why the fundamentals are important. When you're using forms and you're using gesture or rough drawing, you can fake the perspective. You can kind of eyeball or guess how the perspective would work, but you want to do your drawing first. You want to work out the drawing without having any actual horizon line or vanishing points. You kind of have to pretend there's some in there. You kind of have to, like, maybe over here is where the vanishing points, maybe over there is where the horizon line is, and you're kind of faking it. You're kind of just eyeballing it, and you do that from practicing enough perspective. But you just have to, like, get used to the idea of just doing it out of your head first, because the last thing you want to do is limit your creativity. So the first thing you do is you start with a sketch. You sketch out your drawing as close to what you think the perspective might work as, while still kind of working out your sketch. And then once you've worked out your sketch the way that you want to, then and only then do you backwards engineer where the horizon line and where the vanishing points would be. Because you're guessing, because you're not, with your sketch, you're just guessing as to where it might be. There might be a line in there or an idea in there that is more true than the other ones. So there might be like contradictory lines that don't quite match up, but you have to like make the choice. One of these is the right one, and then everything else will have to follow that. And so first you sketch things out, then you find the horizon line, and then you're trying to figure out what the vanishing points are. Sometimes you can follow the angle of part of your sketch to find where your vanishing point might be, and then that will dictate where the horizon line is. Or you may find that it's easier to find the horizon line first and then kind of see if the vanishing points work there. So it's much more of a puzzle to try to just kind of see where everything fits and how everything's going to fit. Let's say that I want a couple of boxes and I want them in a very specific place. So this is going to work even when you're doing exercise. So let's say you're going to do some exercises on drawing boxes, and you want a very specific places where you want the boxes to be. So first you draw the boxes where you want them to be, and then the vanishing points. For example, let's say that you already have a horizon line, then you just draw boxes in general placement where you want, and then you do that. Let's say you want to do something a little bit more complicated than that, and then you just kind of want to draw like a little bit of a couple of buildings or something like that. Then you kind of you draw the general idea of what the buildings are going to be, and then you backwards engineer the perspective there like that. So you have a little bit more control as to where you want everything to be before you even start doing the technical stuff. It's really, really, really important to not do the technical stuff first, because you have no control over what the final result will be. You want to have as much control over the final result as you can have. And here's the secret. Here's like a little secret thing. Sometimes your sketch looks fine, or has an idea that you like, and when you start drawing the perspective and you're doing it as accurately as possible, some things, if you were doing it correctly, kind of breaks your image, so that it's not quite what you want. In cases like that, sometimes if it still looks okay, you could break the perspective rules. It doesn't have to go to the vanishing point, right? You can just kind of like fake it, like just adjust it a little bit. If it still looks right, if it's still convincing, no one's going to care. No one's even going to notice. But that's kind of the trick. You once you know how to use the perspective, if you could get away with it being slightly inaccurate while it still fools the audience into seeing it as accurate, you win, because it's about convincing the audience that it looks good. It doesn't have to be technically correct, but it just has to be convincing. For further reading on perspective, I highly, highly recommend this book, Perspective for Comic Book Artists. I actually have a review of this book in another video. I will put the link in the description of this video. But I highly recommend it. I have also a link to the book if you in the description of this video as well, if you just want to order it from there. And it's an affiliate link, so you'd be supporting me if you get it through that link. So thank you for that. If you found this information useful, let me know by leaving a comment. What was helpful, what wasn't helpful, what wasn't clear, and what should I go a little bit deeper into. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.